Coming to you from the TheEoNProject studios, overlooking the vast, pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons.
You got a rockin' a hat today.
Hoping to find we're two of a kind.
Why you got a hat on?
Oh, you know what? I got this new ball cap.
It's a Boston Red Sox trucker hat.
I was at a local retailer, and I saw this hat.
It looks like a welfare hat.
And, it's got the mesh in the back.
Yeah, it's a trucker hat.
It's a fashionable mesh cap.
I don't know why you're wearing a hat.
Well, I want to try it out, and, I have an oddly shaped head, so it takes a certain cap to cover my cranium.
Certain type of hat.
Perfectly. Otherwise, I look dumb.
Well, welcome to another edition of the TheEoNProject. When I say another edition, I mean a new edition, because we haven't done one in so long. It's been many, many weeks.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since our last program, but you know what? We've been busy with life and love, and everything that goes with it. And we are back here once again to entertain you.
Much like George Takai.
George Takai. Is it Takai or Takai?
Takai? I always thought it was Takai, but apparently it's Takai.
He has a deep voice.
I never knew that George Takai was a homosexual.
Hello.
And he likes men, but that's fine.
Good for him.
And I heard a story that he used to wander around Central Park looking for men.
Yes, I heard this back in the day, right? Back in the 60s or 70s.
Hello, I'm George Takai.
You think he said that? You think he would approach men and say, I am George Takai?
He would walk into the shrubberies.
I am Sulu, Commander Sulu.
Hello.
Was he a commander?
I don't know. What was he? What was his rank?
He was in the Starfleet. I don't know.
What did he do? Did he ever go down to the planets?
Sulu was not usually a part of the away team. The away team was usually Kirk, Spock, Scotty, and Yeoman Johnson.
Oh, and Yeoman Johnson always got killed.
Yeah. Well, it's sad that we had some sad news this week. We lost a movie great.
Who was it?
Mr. Burt Reynolds passed away.
Yes.
I very much enjoyed Burt Reynolds' movies. I was a fan of the Cannonball Run movies. You're a fan of those?
Sure.
Smokey and the Bandit, of course. But he was in a lot of films. He was in a lot of good movies.
He was in Deliverance.
But it brings up a very good point that I wanted to talk to you about at the outset. Well, before we get to Burt Reynolds, let's tease the show topic for today.
Let's tease it.
So we're going to be talking about, we've talked a lot about conspiracies on this show, and we usually stick with, we've talked a lot about conspiracies that are known to a lot of people. We're going to talk about today the most outlandish conspiracy theories we've ever run across.
A few.
Well, not all of them, but we're going to talk about briefly about a number of just outrageous conspiracies that you would never believe because they're probably not true, but they're interesting and fun nonetheless.
And the phenomenon of the conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to get into that. But before we get into the outrageous conspiracy theories, Burt Reynolds passed away, and what Burt Reynolds was famous for was his mustache. So I wanted to ask you, because we haven't discussed this. This is unprompted. What, in your opinion, is the best mustache in entertainment history? Who possessed the best mustache?
In modern entertainment, you would
I'd say modern entertainment. Yeah, not like not in the 20s or anything.
No vaudeville.
Vaudeville
actors. Well, let me think. Well, so it's a
doesn't necessarily have to be movies now. It can be anyone in entertainment.
Okay. Well, the iconic, as we all know, the iconic mustache. There's been a few of them.
There's been a few.
Burt Reynolds being one.
Burt Reynolds got the mustache.
Clearly. Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck
is another.
It would be at the top of many lists.
But I'm gonna go outside the acting realm.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say a musician.
Okay.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury did possess a very interesting mustache.
He was mustacheless for a while, and then he had a mustache.
He looked better with the mustache.
He did.
But when you're considering mustaches, great mustaches throughout history, throughout the entertainment history, I should say, like how do you gauge someone's better than another? Are you looking for volume? Are you looking for longevity? Are you looking for uniqueness? Plumage, flourishes.
I think
any type of sort of weird.
It has to be voluminous.
Voluminous.
It has to be.
You don't think a pencil thin mustache would be good?
No.
There were some very famous people who had pencil thin mustaches.
Wyatt Earp.
No. Wyatt Earp had the giant flowing one.
He did. He had the like a Raleigh Fingers type.
He had the handlebar mustache.
Well, I guess I could have said Raleigh Fingers too.
Raleigh Fingers had the handlebar with the flourishes on the end there. But there was a number of them. There was obviously you mentioned Tom Selleck, Freddie Mercury also had a great one. Who else had wonderful mustaches throughout the years? Clark Gable. Remember Clark Gable?
Oh, I do, yeah.
He had a pencil-thin mustache.
I did. That was a good one.
I was just gesturing like you could see me, but
I
can't.
have a problem. I lack manliness. Mm-hmm. Because, some people, I'm very jealous of people that can grow a mustache, a very thick and full mustache,
Yes.
in just a few short days.
Yes, they can.
I cannot.
Me neither.
I can let it go. I tried one time. I let it go for like a month. And
It just becomes annoying.
it was splotchy.
Yeah.
And a guy, I was actually at a local hardware store, and a guy thought that I was a landscaper because of the kind of mustache I had.
What?
Yes.
What does a landscaper mustache look like?
I don't know.
How did did he say that? You look like a
He
landscaper
called me-
because of your
he
mustache?
He called me Pedro.
That's very racist.
No.
Yes. Anyway, so we jet into the topic today. We have a number of things to talk about, and only we have unlimited time. We could talk all day if we wanted to. We are not constricted by the bounds of terrestrial radio.
Until the hard drive runs out of memory. Then
Right.
we have a problem.
So let's talk about the topic. We'd be the first people to tell you that not everything is how it seems. The official story is not always the real story, and there's conspiracies behind a lot of things. However, that being said, there are some crazy-ass conspiracy theories that are so outrageous and out there that they make us seem like normal people.
Yes.
And that's hard to do.
No.
Now, these are actual theories. The things that we're going to talk about today are actual theories that people have, not some stupid stuff that we made up. Although, when we say it, if you've never heard of it, it may sound like we made it up.
Right.
But we're going to discuss several of these today in a quick hit format. Basically, we're going to briefly discuss each topic and then leave it up to you, the valued listener, to go ahead and conduct your own research and figure out if there's any merit to any of these.
I will say that the term conspiracy theory has taken a negative connotation over the years, right? But if you look back at history, there's been a lot of famous actual conspiracies that weren't necessarily theory
That turned into be real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, can you name one?
Well, I mean, growing up, early on in your educational years, you learn about not Lee Harvey Oswald, but you learn about John Wilkes Booth and how he killed Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
And so you first learn about just John Wilkes Booth.
No, but there was a whole conspiracy behind him.
There was a vast conspiracy.
Yes.
And many, many people were executed.
That's correct.
Because of that.
That's correct. They were.
It was not a theory. It was
John Wilkes Booth had a great mustache.
He did.
Yes, he was mustachioed. Did you know? We are in the TheEoNProject Studios. The palatial TheEoNProject Studios is in close proximity to a place called Woonsocket, Rhode Island, which has a very famous old theater called the Stadium Theater, which we have been in many times. John Wilkes Booth actually performed at the Stadium Theater.
That's pretty impossible.
How was that?
Seeing as how it was only built in the 20s.
That's not true. Look it up. John Wilkes Booth performed at the Stadium Theater.
Not the Stadium Theater that we know.
It was
a smaller,
but it was an
earlier iteration of it.
It was in Woonsocket. Shut up.
Ooh, okay.
Also, Abraham Lincoln appeared in Woonsocket too.
On the train.
Different times.
That's right.
Anyway, so the first crazy conspiracy theory we are going to talk about today, I think I'm going to go first. Is that okay if I go first?
Go for it, sir.
I'm gonna say something, and it's going to be outrageous, and then we're going to talk about the conspiracy theory behind it. The moon isn't real.
It isn't.
The moon is not real. That is to say, the moon that we all look up and see in the night sky isn't really there. It's a hologram.
That's right.
This is a theory that came out around 2014 by eagle-eyed moon watchers who were staring at the moon via cameras to look for aliens and whatnots. So they had their cameras trained on the moon to see if they could see, alien bases being built.
That's right.
E.T. up there phoning someone. Who knows what they were looking for. However, why is there a hologram of the moon? First of all, to keep us from knowing stuff.
That's right.
Did you know that?
That's right. It all goes with the flat Earth theory.
Well, yes and no. So theories seem to differ that the moon, why the moon hologram was placed up in the sky, whether it was to block out something like a planet, another planet that's up there, which I don't know why we would want to block a planet, or UFOs, or a alien base. Well, who knows?
They're just trying to hide everything.
Going to hide something. So it's a hologram that's projected from various sites around the world, and that's why it appears slightly different depending on where you are.
I see.
This makes tons of sense. That's proof. Oh, there is proof that this moon is a hologram. Do you know that?
I know that it's made of cheese.
There are multiple YouTube videos out there that purport to show a lunar wave or a ripple that occurs across the face of the moon, and that proves that it's a hologram. And I've actually seen some of these videos. Have you seen a lunar wave video?
I've listened to watched some of these videos of these people that are claiming that it's a hologram.
Yes.
And to listen to them talk
yes,
is quite mind-boggling.
These people are out amongst us. So the lunar wave is like this line that goes across the face of the moon, and to these people, it shows that it's a hologram. Now, I'm sure that it's not just a camera effect or a video defect
or atmospheric something or other,
or like a heat wave. You know, like when you look at on a hot day, you look at the street and it looks like there's waves coming off. Certainly has nothing to do with that. However, also proof. This is proof that the moon is not real. The moon is too big to be real, according to these people.
Oh.
If the moon were as big as it appears, it would have crashed into Earth or floated away billions of years ago. It's too big to be held by our gravity, and so it would have either crashed into us or floated away.
Okay.
Now, those of you who are saying, of course the moon is real, because people have been seeing it and records exist for as long as there have been people.
That's right. What about the time of Socrates?
Aha! Ha-ha, say the moon truthers.
That's not real then?
No.
Oh.
Either the hologram is really, really old, or aliens did it. Oh. Aliens put it up there.
Okay.
So that's why that explains why it was so old. So we're not even going to discuss the other moon-related theories like it's hollow, or aliens live in it, or anything else according to that. We're just discussing that the moon is a hologram, because to discuss anything else would be lunacy. Did you see what I did?
That's where the term comes from.
Yes.
It's funny that you mentioned the moon, though, because something that is not a conspiracy, and they have recently supposedly discovered this.
What's that?
Is that there is liquid water on the moon, which I find to be
are you sure about that?
Amazing. Yes.
They've discovered liquid water on the moon.
They just said this. Yes.
I did not know that.
That's true.
Where is it?
It's on the surface somewhere.
There's like a lake in the
I don't
moon?
know how, because there's no atmosphere.
There's no atmosphere.
I don't know. I heard it.
I think you heard wrong.
Oh.
Anyway.
Maybe it was whiskey.
So that's the first one. Do you think the moon is real? I think it's probably real. You can look up and see it.
I think the moon is pretty real.
Yeah.
And
we've actually had people stepping on it. So.
Well, according to the conspiracy theorists, that hasn't happened either.
Well, no. That's correct. But you know how many people would have to be involved in that conspiracy to keep the moon landing a secret? Thousands and thousands of people.
That's right. And, they can't keep secrets about anything nowadays.
No.
So I'm sure that would come out in some form or fashion.
Yeah. All right, moving on. What's yours? What's your first one?
Well, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go way off from the moon, so to speak.
Off of the moon.
And I'm going to talk about the Beatles. We've talked about the Beatles before in the program.
Yep,
we love they're one of the most influential and famous rock bands of all time.
Oh, you know what? I know you're a big Beatles fan. Before you get into the topic, I just want to say that I listen to. I'm not as big of a Beatles fan as you are, but I have satellite radio now. So you know how you can get the Beatles station on XM?
I love it.
And they play some weird tracks that you've never heard before. I actually heard an old track. It was, and I forget the name of it, but it was John Lennon and Yoko Ono, just the two of them screeching with like weird ambient noises and stuff for a few minutes. And I don't know what the hell that was.
You know what's funny? Musically, early on, of course they experimented with different things, and it worked to their advantage. And they had they were very trend-setting when it comes to certain musical different musical recording techniques and instruments and things of that sort. But then they started to go a little too far off the rails when the LSD was running
flowing,
and Yoko stepped into the picture.
Yeah, not a comely woman, not an attractive woman at all.
Not musically gifted in any way.
No, but she was given carte blanche.
That's right, and they used to try to. Of course, John used to try to work her into the recordings.
What is it about Yoko Ono that was she famous too? Like how did he meet her? He was very famous. He was one of the most famous people in the world at that time. So how did he get?
She was Japanese.
Yeah, so
and
there's a lot of Japanese people,
and she put a spell on him, if you will.
Okay.
So some people think, we've all heard the conspiracy theory that Paul is dead, right?
Oh, we've heard this.
We talked about that before.
Been done to death.
Where supposedly he died in a car crash, and then they replaced him with a double, who was just as good, actually, if not better, than the original Paul McCartney.
Oh.
But apparently, there's a theory that the Beatles never actually existed at all as a band, as a complete band.
Okay.
That's right.
No? They didn't exist at all?
That's exactly right. So from the moment they began, apparently, the Beatles were a fake band staffed by a revolving cast of almost identical actors.
Oh, because that sounds plausible.
That's right.
Not like the Monkees, except with a changing cast.
So they were out there. It basically just, it was a marketing and a informational tool to confuse the youths of the time and to spread the word of people.
What word?
So believe it or not, and that's why there's only 2 Beatles left. Because they could
not because of age.
No, as they got older, it was harder to find adequate replacements musically to replace the dying Beatles.
Then how do they? Well, I know that you probably don't subscribe to this theory, but how do they explain how Paul McCartney's voice today sounds just like Paul McCartney's voice from 40 years ago?
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I would disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
You can tell it's Paul McCartney.
No, because and you know what happens? Actually, this happens to a lot of musicians over the course of time as they get older. Their singing voices change, and they actually end up a lot of the way that the songs were recorded originally. As they play them now, they play them in a different tuning.
Well, because they can't
key.
sing as high. I get that.
Exactly.
Sure.
They lower the key a lot of the times.
So normally Paul McCartney would talk like this.
They talk like this.
Oh, he talks like this.
Governor.
So the Beatles never existed.
Oh, well, that's nice.
That's right.
For those of you listening in the UK, I hope you're sitting down for that portion. You should have given a warning that most of their childhood has been a lie.
Hey, something we didn't mention, too, speaking of music, is that we have a special guest coming on later to talk about a musical promotion that is going on.
Musical promotion for the show?
For the show, for the business, for the music.
For everything.
That's right. So stay tuned.
We're going to move on, right?
Yep.
Moving on to the next topic. Okay, here's one for you. We're all living in a computer simulation. Did you know that?
Well, that's true. It's the Matrix.
Well, this one's really out there. So here's the gist of it. I know some of you may have heard this before. Actually, this is one that has been discussed at scientific levels by people way smarter than us, and is actually a topic that goes around. It's been going around for a number of years now. But here's the gist of it. So you, your pet gerbil,
My gerbil.
your neighbor Fred,
Freddy.
and everything in your world and mine is not real.
Ah.
It's all a computer simulation.
Like underwear.
Somewhere along the line, our civilization became so advanced that it started conducting computer simulations that were so lifelike that they were indistinguishable from reality. So much so that the people and things in it, like you, me, the gerbil, and Fred, are not aware that it's fake. We're just part of a giant computer program.
Okay.
So this is actually taken from Scientific American magazine, which sounds pretty...
It sounds official.
It's Scientific American, yes.
Is that the one that who's the guy from MASH that does the science program?
The guy from MASH.
Remember the who was one of the actors? Not Alan Alda. Was it? Yes, Alan Alda.
Alan Alda does a science show?
He does.
I like Alan Alda.
He does. It's pretty good. I think it's Scientific American.
Well, there you go. From Scientific American magazine, quote, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know Neil deGrasse Tyson? He's like a famous astrophysicist.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a rock star of the
right.
astrophysicist world.
That's right.
He's the director of the museum's Hayden Planetarium, which I don't know where that is. Puts the odds at 50-50 that our entire existence is a program on someone else's hard drive. This is a quote from Mr. deGrasse Tyson. Is he a doctor? He must be a doctor.
Yeah, sure.
I have to imagine. This is a quote from him. I think the likelihood may be very high, he said. He noted the gap between humans and chimpanzees' intelligence. Despite the fact that we share more than 98% of our DNA, somewhere out there could be a being whose intelligence is that much greater than ours.
Of course.
We would be drooling, blithering idiots in their presence, he said. If that's the case, it's easy for me to imagine that everything in our lives is just a creation of some other entity for their entertainment. Aha! For proof, proponents of this theory point out the fact, and this is I guess is a fact, people are smarter than me, that science is always finding mathematical formulas that explain how things work, like gravity and cosmic forces and whatnot. So if math is behind everything, then we must be living in a computer simulation, because that would make sense,
right?
Apparently. I don't know math. I have a math disability. I don't know if I buy any of that, but there's a famous science quote that you may have heard that goes, if you can't disprove the idea, you can't prove it.
That's true.
So I hope math isn't behind everything, because I suck at math. You have kids.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to help your kids with math homework?
I don't enjoy math.
Once they get past third grade, I have no idea what they're talking about.
I thought I was done with math when I left school, but now it's reared its ugly head again, and I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
And
not only that, would you consider ourselves to be successful adults?
No.
Okay. Would you consider ourselves to be adequate adults? We're probably adequate, right?
Well, you're pretty adequate.
Yeah, we don't we're not dying of starvation. We're raising families.
Right.
And sure, we don't have $1 million, but we do pretty good. We're all right.
Yeah, I bought a new pair of shoes recently.
Have you ever used math in your adult life? Besides basic addition and
basic stuff, like I got to measure this 2x4.
Yeah,
no. I have a tape measure.
I'm talking about algebra,
no,
geometry.
I'm going to say the average person doesn't use any of that crap.
Never uses any of it.
And
so what's the point of it?
So going back to when we were kids, we asked the same question: when am I ever going to use this? And of course, your teachers have to say, "Well, you're going to use this someday. You're going to need.
You're going to be an astrophysicist like Neil deGrasse Tyson."
But they all lied to us, and now I'm lying to my children as well.
It's a big lie
about math.
Anyway,
Stupid.
So anyway, that we're living in a simulation. So it doesn't matter what you do. So everyone should take all of their money and send it to us.
That's right.
Because we need it.
Contact Mike and Jay at TheEoNProject at yahoo.com, and I will give you my PayPal information, and you can send over some money.
We appreciate donations.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, though, because, you know, we've talked about aliens before in this program.
Many times.
And what's to say, and I subscribe to the idea that there are super advanced civilizations. What about a civilization that was 1 million years more advanced than us?
Okay.
Right?
Which is, that would be conservative estimate.
Right, and consider how far we've come. You know,
in the last 1,000 years.
Exactly.
Sure.
So 1 million years more advanced, we wouldn't have any clue
Nope.
that they were even observing us. They could be manipulating us in every way, which is why sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat.
I was going to say, sometimes I wake up and my bum hurts.
Yeah.
So I don't know about
They
that.
manipulated you.
I don't know what happened there.
Alien way.
Could have been my wife. Who knows?
That's right. Anyway. But yeah, so we're basically could be like ants in an ant farm being observed because they could be, as our famous alien guest many moons ago
We had an alien guest?
said, they could be non-corporeal.
Is he from
Which
Mexico?
means they're just floating through the energy and the ether of space and time.
Did he say that? I kind of zoned out. He was one of those guests that was too smart.
Yeah.
And he knew too many big
He used that word, and then I
big
didn't know what it
words.
was until he explained it. Then it
and
made sense
I
to
couldn't
me.
follow along.
So now I use it to sound just as smart as Joe.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Hey.
So it's quite a possibility.
I hope Joe's doing okay. I haven't seen Joe in a while.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So all right, so I want to talk about weather control.
Oh!
So there's a theory that that the former president Barack Obama could control the weather.
Barry Soetoro.
And they used one of the examples of back in May of 2013. There was a mile-wide tornado that struck the city of Moore, Oklahoma.
That's a big-ass
and
tornado.
killed 24 people. And they said that the strange movements of the tornado appeared as though that it was under intelligent control.
Oh.
So
Somebody had a joystick somewhere.
that's right. So this is not a new theory, and this is actually quite a prevalent theory that the government in general can control weather patterns.
Yes.
And I remember back when Hurricane Katrina struck, which was a very devastating hurricane.
Yes, I lived in the South when that happened.
Yeah, and you didn't get washed away, thank God.
No.
But the theory was that George W. Bush had created this hurricane
Yep.
and sent it towards the people of New Orleans and Texas and that part of the country, the Gulf Coast,
Yes.
to destroy people. Apparently,
For what purpose?
I don't know. They do for whatever reason, insurance purposes or just to practice.
Knowing what you know about...
Just to use a weapon, to how to hone their weapon, their skills of controlling the weather.
knowing what you know about George W. Bush, do you think he has the intellectual capacity to think of something like that?
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me again, there'll be no more shaming, or whatever he said.
The funniest George W. Bush moment I remember of his presidency, and there was a lot of strange
somebody
stuff.
threw a shoe
When
at him?
Somebody threw a shoe at him, and the look on his face, he had this stupid look on his face. He was like smirking.
He dodged it, though.
He dodged it, but then he cut up, and his face was like... it was just
He
hilarious.
seems like a good guy to drink beer with.
That's what I was just about to say. He's probably a cool guy to drink some whiskey with. But
So anyway, yeah, so the government, do you think that the government can manipulate the weather?
Well, here's the thing, and I wanted to mention this. The government has tried to manipulate weather, not necessarily to create storms and hurt people, but they have tried to create rain so that it rains in drought-covered areas. I get that.
That's right. They seed the clouds
Sure.
with silver
that's been
iodine.
around. That's been around for decades. People have been doing that.
That's right. And supposedly the HARP, I think it's the HARP project.
Yes, that's correct.
That
Some sort of electrical
they fire
atmospheric
beams into the ionosphere, supposedly.
supposedly to measure stuff. I don't know what the deal is with the HARP thing, but yeah, supposedly one of the side effects of the HARP program is that it creates monster storms, which I don't know how that would, because the HARP generator is in like Alaska.
That's right.
So how it would generate a storm in the tropics, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Speaking of which,
But the government does try to manipulate just about anything.
Sure,
I would say.
Sure, absolutely.
And you can't trust them.
Cannot
in
trust the
any
government.
form or fashion.
No.
Left, right, or in the middle, it doesn't matter. People become power hungry, and they'll do anything to keep power and manipulate the masses.
Yes. So anyway, moving on. When we grew up, and we talk a lot of times about the 1980s, the 70s, 80s, early 90s. That's when we were younger. But there's been a lot, and there's been a lot of changes in the world since then. But one of the things that I enjoyed most about my childhood, and you probably agree, is did you love Saturday morning cartoons?
Loved it.
Saturday morning was an event, right? You would get up, you would get your cereal,
right.
your mostly sugar-flavored cereals.
Oh, I was up early Saturday watching all cartoons
Sure,
all morning.
and like from 6 o'clock in the morning till like noon, they were all different cartoons. They don't do that anymore.
No.
There's cartoons like at different times.
Well, that's because there's cartoons pretty much all day, every day, on demand, wherever
No,
you need
but
them.
you're right. So when we were kids and there was only like 4 channels,
right.
Saturday morning was for cartoons. That's just kind of how it was. So of all the beloved cartoons I had growing up, I have to say that I had a favorite.
Which was that?
Scooby-Doo was always my favorite cartoon.
I love Scooby-Doo.
And the reason it was my favorite, I'll talk about it in just a moment. But this conspiracy theory, the next outlandish conspiracy theory of all time, is that Scooby-Doo is a metaphor for something nefarious. And I'm going to get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So Scooby-Doo was always my favorite. You know, they had all the topics were ghosts, monsters, legends.
Yep.
There was always some sort of cool backstory.
I love the guest stars they had.
They had great guest stars. They had the Harlem Globetrotters.
They had the Three Stooges.
Three Stooges, Batman.
Laurel and Hardy.
There was always some cool
Yeah.
guest star, and it's all the crap that we talk about in this show. You know, ghosts, monsters, UFOs, all that stuff was on Scooby-Doo.
Did you like Daphne or Velma?
I'm gonna get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Of course I like Daphne. Anyway, so we all loved this show growing up. But what if we were living a lie? We were loving a lie, I should say.
Loving a lie?
Yeah. What if the Mystery Machine Gang and all of their exploits are actually metaphors for the 1960s drug and counterculture?
Well, we knew that, didn't we? With
No.
The Mystery Machine, of course.
Well, you have to. A lot of people don't know this. You think very strangely,
Okay.
but these other people don't. Also, besides drugs, the Scooby-Doo gang could be dodging the Vietnam draft. We're going to talk about that.
That's why they're running all over the country.
That's right. So here it goes. According to the drug theory, each character represents the embodiment of a different drug. The most obvious one is Shaggy, which of course is marijuana. Everybody knows that.
He's hungry all the time.
He's hungry. He's unshaven. He's unkempt. He possesses a large appetite, even though he's skinny.
That's right.
And he says "like wow" a lot. You know, he's paranoid. All the things that a very, very heavy marijuana user might exhibit.
That's right.
So that's an easy one. But next is Scooby himself, who could represent either edible marijuana or hashish.
Well, he loved the Scooby
Because
snacks.
he gets a high off of the Scooby snacks. You know, remember when you
right.
get a Scooby snack, you would act all crazy.
That's right.
You get all excited. So that explains Scooby. Now, Fred is an interesting one because to most people, he's pretty straight-laced. But however, he could be representing illegal steroids. He's buff. He never works out. He's
right.
large. He's got an upper body like
He's got the perfect V
linebacker.
taper.
Yeah, man. He's you know what's going on with that? That's steroids, right?
Well, okay.
It's less clear.
They're reaching now, but all right.
I know. It's less clear what Velma and Daphne represent, but it's clear to many people that Velma's a lesbian. I mean, that's pretty easy to look at that, right?
Why? Because she's got a short haircut?
Short haircut, dresses frumpy,
Well,
anti-war activist. She looks like. So she represents. Well, you know,
she played softball.
back in the day, that was controversial. It's not controversial today.
Sure.
You know, you could do that, whatever. But back in the 60s, that would have been, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
taboo to talk about that sort of thing.
That's right.
Now, Daphne's drug is sex.
Okay.
She's a sex addict.
Sex addict.
She loves to have sex with Fred.
That makes sense.
So she stays with him.
They're always going in
Always.
weird places together.
They're always going off to so-called solve the mystery.
That's right. They're
We
going
have
into
to
the
split up.
You two, you go that way. We're gonna go in this dark cave.
That's right. You think Fred was stupid?
You ever
Fred
notice?
wasn't stupid.
You ever notice sometimes he came out of the cave and his ascot was askew?
No, I never noticed
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Was
Pay
his
more
hair
attention.
mussed?
It was.
Was Daphne like straightening her knickers? Who knows what's going on? So that's Daphne's story. And then, you know, obviously, those are the individual drugs. But there's, yeah, Fred and Daphne were constantly knocking the boots while splitting up to solve the mystery. But anyway, an alternate theory to the drug theory, real quickly, is that the whole thing is a metaphor for draft dodging. That it came right around the time of the Vietnam War, 1968, 1969. A lot of people were getting drafted. And if you look at it on its face, so they're driving around in a van, right? They never stop for too long.
No.
Can't be caught by the authorities.
You're like gypsies, basically.
Driving around solving mysteries. Obviously, Shaggy wants no part of Vietnam War, right? You think Shaggy could join the Army or the Marine Corps at that time? Probably not so much. So they live in their van, traveling around. Shaggy wants to stay away from the draft. Fred looks like he'd be all gung-ho and volunteer for, the Marines or something, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's a wuss.
It could be.
Maybe he's afraid.
Well, he's the muscle of the crew.
That's right. So you got Velma, the lesbian, who couldn't get in anyway, because that would have been illegal.
That's right.
And then you have Daphne, who loves to have sex with Fred. So she's going to stay with him.
Well, she would have been perfect in the service.
She would have been great for USO. She could have been a good troop welfare person. And then the dog is obviously, just a dog. So they're making their way to Canada, living off the grid, solving mysteries,
Right.
and to make money to buy drugs and stay away from the draft.
You know what, though? Thank God that they did what they did, though. I mean, how many mysteries did they solve?
You know, they solved a lot of mysteries.
Let me ask you this: was there ever an episode where it was actually a paranormal event?
No, that's a great question, because in doing research for this program, I did see another conspiracy theory, and that a lot less controversial and weird. But that one is that the whole thing is a metaphor for, not a metaphor, but a way to teach kids that there's no such thing as monsters, because like you just said,
right?
There's every single episode they solved the mystery. It was never a paranormal event. It was always somebody behind it. There was a person committing a crime or keeping people away or whatever. So there's the crux of the show is that there's no such thing as monsters or ghosts. Or
they could have been saying that there's no such thing as fake monsters, but there are real monsters in the world.
Oh,
humans.
Interesting concept.
Human monsters.
Humans.
All right, so we're just about at the halfway point of the show, as we per usual do on the program. We like to do something new and interesting, and I think we have something different today. I don't know. We've done so many different things; it's hard to keep track.
We have done many things,
but so we have a. It's basically this is like a guessing game, all right? But it's a movie plot guessing game.
Yes.
So what Mike and I are going to do, we each prepared a number of famous 80s movie plots.
Stop kicking things.
My leg is tangled in the cord.
What are you doing?
Got it around my neck and everything.
Good Lord.
So what we're going to do is we're going to read these movie plots in a Shakespearean voice.
Oh, using Shakespearean lingo.
Because it'll just show you that if you read anything in a Shakespearean voice, it sounds official
and cooler
and great and
more
cultured,
more fun.
And then the other person has to try to guess.
So we got to try to guess what it is.
What it is.
Got it. Okay,
right.
And we don't know what the other person's going to say.
We don't.
All right. So why don't you go? You want to go first?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: should we say the characters' names, or is that going to give it away?
No, that would give it away. I would just do it in the voice.
Okay. So I'm going to have to skip over some of the names here.
Okay.
This female is a pretty but inexperienced teen interested in dating. Given advice by her uninhibited friend, she gets trapped in a love triangle with a nice guy and is a assured buddy. Meanwhile, her classmate, so-and-so, who lives for surfing and being stoned, faces off against so-and-so, a strict teacher who has no time for slackers' antics. That wasn't really Shakespearean.
I was going to say,
like George Takai.
That sounds like George Takai trying to do an Indian voice. Is that Summer School?
Nope.
I don't know then.
All right, I'll give you one of the characters' names.
Okay.
Jeff Spicoli.
Oh, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah,
that's a great movie. You know what I liked about that movie? It showed nudity.
Yes.
Twice.
That's right.
You could see Phoebe Cates, who was ridiculously gorgeous.
Oh, gorgeous.
She's still pretty good looking.
I'm in love.
Pretty good looking, but she famously took her top off during a swimming scene.
I may even leave my wife for a 60-year-old Phoebe Cates. That's how hot she is.
She's pretty hot.
All right.
And then also Jennifer Jason Leigh gets completely naked, and you can see, like, I don't even know how they did. She must have been over 18 at the time, but she played like a 13-year-old or something, 14-year-old.
I don't remember this part.
You don't remember that?
I gotta go back and watch.
She has sex with Damone in the boathouse, or the pool house, I should say, and they show her naked, completely naked. Yeah.
Even her lower regions?
Yes.
Oh my God.
You gotta check it out, man. Jennifer
It's been a
Jason
while
Leigh.
since I've seen this.
And she's not good looking these days, but back then she was.
No, she's lost it.
All right, well, you got one, then I didn't.
All right.
Okay, so ready?
Yeah. Oh.
Hark and take heed, as two stalwart members of the constabulary, both magnificent in their efforts and successes, but bitter rivals nonetheless, enlist the most welcome help of one of their hot-ass sisters to ensure the downfall of one Jack Palance. What is that?
City Slickers.
No. Tango and Cash.
Oh my God.
Remember, it had
yes, Kurt Russell and
Sylvester Stallone, but it also had a young Terry Hatcher, who was ridiculous.
She was so hot in that.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Ridiculous.
All right,
so
you
didn't get that one.
All right. In a remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take the dog in, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot, played by so-and-so, and the camp doctor, played by so-and-so, lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one.
That's The Thing.
The Thing.
See?
Who was in that? We just talked about
was it Jack Palance?
Kurt Russell was in that.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Yeah, I like Kurt Russell.
Yep.
He's an interesting dude.
And also, you know, also
He's outspoken now. Did you know that? He's kind of a conservative.
Yeah,
He's outspoken.
I think Wilford Brimley was in that.
Oh, Mr. Diabetes.
And the black guy from remember the show Spencer for Hire?
Yes.
And the guy Hawk. Remember the guy that played Hawk?
Yes.
He was in that.
Speaking of Spencer for Hire, if I could take a quick moment to plug myself, I actually had a audition for a movie, a major Hollywood film, based on that.
How did it go?
It went okay. Actually, I had 2 auditions for 2 different parts. I went both 2 times. I haven't gotten called yet, but I want everybody to say a collective a prayer for me that I get hired.
Did you say one of the movies was Spencer for Hire?
Yeah, they're redoing. It's a Mark Wahlberg film, and they're redoing Spencer for Hire.
I'm gonna throw up. Okay.
What?
I hate reboots. Can we just say that? And they've come out with a new one. Speaking of mustache, they're doing a new Magnum PI.
Yes.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're redoing a Magnum PI. Magnum PI was great.
How can you redo that?
I don't know.
You can't.
It only worked because of Tom Selleck.
And I didn't realize that Spencer for Hire had such a following that they would make a motion picture out of it.
Yes, well, it's a Peter Berg film. He actually made Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon. He's made a number. He made Patriots Day.
So it was Robert. What was the guy's name? Robert
Spencer.
No. And the actor's name.
Oh,
Robert Urich, Ulrich, something like that.
Urich, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but anyway, they're redoing that.
Okay, whose turn is it?
Maybe I'll get in.
It's yours.
My turn. Okay. Unwitting and dim-witted, 2 erstwhile members of the clandestine services hearken and doeth succeed in thine efforts to infiltrate the land of the Tsars. Inadvertently beginningeth the Armageddon, also with hot-ass women.
That sounds like Spies Like Us.
That's Spies Like Us.
A classic Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd film.
Buddy flick.
Oh, man, what a great movie.
You know, they had good chemistry, those 2.
They did. Would you learn your Russian, J.C. Penney?
There's a lot of good one-liners in that movie.
All right, I got that one.
Okay.
You're probably going to get this one.
All right.
Don't look at my sheet.
I'm not looking at your sheet.
Upper crust executive, so-and-so, and down-and-out hustler, blah, 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 are the subjects of a bet by successful brokers, blah, blah, and blah, blah. An employee of the blanks is framed by the brothers for a crime he didn't commit, with the siblings then installingeth the street-smart so-and-so in his position. When blank and blank uncover the scheme, they set out to turn the table on the so-and-sos.
That would be Trading Places.
It is, yes, 1983.
And I learned everything I know about the stock market. I learned from Trading Places, the final scene there when they cornered the market on frozen concentrated orange juice.
That's right. And another eyes wide open moment was when Jamie Lee Curtis took her top off.
Oh, yes, she was very hot too.
And it was one of those things you saw her in Halloween, and then you finally get to see her naked bosoms.
She was a very attractive young lady back then. Anyway, all right, moving on.
Yep.
I have 2 more.
Okay, I only have 1.
Okay. Well, that's good because we're going back and forth. A young man, full of vim, vigor, and possibly vinegar, desperate to sow his wild oats, leaves his life of fortune, luxury, and private bathing slaves to cross the seas, unaccompanied by his hetero manservant in order to find a suitable bride, ensuring that hilarity willeth ensue.
Oh, Coming to America.
Yes, it's Coming to America. What a great film.
That was good.
You know, he played all the characters in the...
he played the Jewish guy, right?
He played all the characters in the barbershop scene except for the one that Arsenio Hall plays, but he plays all the other characters.
Right.
He used to be a really good actor.
He was good.
I don't know what he does now.
I don't know. Nutty P, baby.
Nutty P.
All right, my last one.
Okay.
I'm going to give the names because you might not know the character names.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it's going to give it away for you.
Okay.
Moving in from Chicago, newcomer Ryan McCormack is in shock when he discovers the small Midwestern town he calls home has made dancing and rock music illegal.
Oh.
As he struggles to fit in, Ren faces an uphill battle to change things with the help of his new friend, Willard Hewitt, and defy teen Ariel Moore. He might loosen up this conservative town, but Ariel's influential father, Reverend Shaw Moore, stands in his way.
That's Footloose.
Yes!
Yes!
Oh, you know your 80s films.
One of the best movies of all time is Footloose.
Oh, yeah.
Dancing's illegal. The Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I'm 1 degree from Kevin Bacon. I was in a film with Kevin Bacon.
Would that be 1 degree? So that would make me
2.
No, because I was in a film with Kevin Bacon.
No, that's right. You were. So
Yeah,
you're a 1st degree as well.
He was in
That's correct.
Rules of Engagement.
Yes, he was.
Which I was in. I played an extra in the movie.
Yes.
And you can't see me.
No,
because it's too far.
You're the guy with the Marine Corps uniform on. Mm-hmm. Oh. All right, last one. Ready? Know ye that this man, alone and afraid, doeth take upon himself the task of defending the weak and innocent, even knowing if that he be bereft of footwear and possessing only a shirt akin to the beating of a wife, does he succeed in saving said Nakatomi.
Oh, that would be the great Die Hard.
Die Hard, yes.
And the Nakatomi Plaza.
If I didn't say Nakatomi, would you have gotten that one?
Maybe not. No.
Yeah.
You know who was in that? The great Reginald Vell Johnson.
Reginald Vell Johnson was in it.
Played a cop in every show he was in.
And wait, ready? The great Alan Rickman.
Give me my detonators.
I need the detonators. That didn't sound
What a
right.
great film that was. You know, he did the whole movie without any shoes on, shoes and socks.
Yep.
And
it made me nervous because he was always stepping on like glass.
Yeah, he stepped in the
stuff.
glass and he pulled that piece of glass out
You
of
know
his
what?
foot.
Die Hard 1 was great, obviously the best one. Die Hard 2 was terrible. Die Hard 3 was with Samuel L. Jackson was actually really good. And then I didn't see any of the other ones.
Were there any others?
There was like
after that?
5.
Oh.
Or 6. It was a bunch.
What was his sidearm in that movie? His weapon of choice.
He had a Beretta.
He did have a
Beretta 9mm.
That's right.
And that made me want one.
Yep.
Back in the day.
All right.
All right.
That was pretty good. Yeah, so we're back. And we have a special guest on the line.
Yes.
Hello. Hello, special guest.
Hello. Hello, how are you guys?
Good, good. Who are we speaking with?
This is Brent.
Oh, hey, Brent.
Hey, Brent, friend of the show.
51 Pan Man.
That's right. You're a
51 Pan Man.
loyal listener. That's going way back. That was the first exposure to you was by 51 Pan Man.
That was a long time ago.
That's right.
Correct. The beta edition.
That's right. So you've been a loyal listener for quite some time, Mr. Brent, and of course, we appreciate that, and we appreciate everything that you do for the program.
And because you listen to this program,
Absolutely.
you have developed a very successful business based on our advice.
That's right. And our keen business sense and musical acumen. Why don't you talk a little bit about your business, what you do, what you're up to, and how things are going, and any promotions that you may have. Yeah, so why don't you talk a little bit about everything you got going on, Brent?
Well, lately the shop's been doing really good, and we appreciate the support that the TheEoNProject gave us early on, sponsoring some ads for us and things like that. And what we do is we build custom guitars, amplifiers, effects pedals, and those type of things. When we do them, we try to build them with some really unique characteristics and features, and we want them to look really cool, but they also sound really good too, and they're really good quality instruments. One of the things I like to do personally is when I'm working on anything in the shop, I like to listen to the TheEoNProject. And in fact, I would like to see more listeners listening to the TheEoNProject, get these guys, Mike and Jay, the ability to be able to do it more frequently, so that I have something to listen to while I'm working, to be frankly honest with you.
Okay.
So I'm going to offer a promotion. It's pretty simple. If you want to win a custom guitar built by me in my shop, we'll do that for you. You have to be the 100th person to write a review on iTunes for the TheEoNProject.
Ooh.
That simple. That simple. And if that means you make your kid get on there and listen to it, write a review, and then you do it and grandma does it and whoever, to get to that 100th one, there's tricks to do it. There's ways you can get to be the 100th one. And if you're the 100th person to write a review for the TheEoNProject on iTunes, I will provide you with a custom guitar built to your specs to a value of $500.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All right?
Well,
and it gets better.
Yep, okay.
If for some reason it goes crazy and somebody hits the 500th review, I'll double that amount and add 500 more.
Wow.
So we'll do a $1,500 guitar.
That's insane.
Well, that's very generous of you, Brent,
Absolutely.
for not only the listeners, but for us as well. I mean, we appreciate
Absolutely right.
your help on that.
That's awesome.
And
Well, and I like to throw challenges out to people because I like to be proven wrong. I feel pretty safe that nobody's going to take the time to get on there and really do this. But prove me wrong. I mean, seriously, really prove me wrong, because I'm more than happy to follow through on my end of the deal, and I will absolutely 100% get in touch with you, work with you intimately to make sure that you have the product you want exactly the way you want it. Custom pickups, finish, body, whatever you want. We'll make it happen, and we'll get it to you ASAP.
Wow.
You can help us through the build the whole way. So hopefully, whoever the winner is, they can we can live stream some of the build onto you guys' show. Maybe do some different things like that. TheEoNProject's near and dear to me, and I want to see it continue to succeed, and I want to see it thrive. And I know that you guys out there that are loyal listeners like myself, you know people that you can get to listen to this show and get reviews written. Make it happen, guys. Let's see this thing really take off and become what we all know it can be.
Well,
That's terrific.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate that. And, of course, I can speak to the quality of the instruments you build because you sent me one a while ago, and
absolutely,
I play it all the
sent
time, and it sounds great, and I love it.
Yeah, that's actually number 2 of the ones I actually built. So that maybe, hopefully, someday will be worth some money. But
Brent, if the listeners want to see what you have to offer and they want to see your products and stuff, where can they go?
Well, I was having a hard time hearing you there, Mike. I don't know if it's the connection, but
he was he was asking you where these the people can go to find out more about you and learn about your products
Absolutely.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. We have a Facebook page, so we're on Facebook. It's Old 303 Music. We also have a website. It's www.old303music.com. You can get on there and check it out. You can also get to my personal Facebook page, which is just Brent A. Garrett, and that'll link you to all the pages that I manage for the shop and our pedals and things like that. So definitely get on there, check out some of our past builds that we've done, look at the stuff that we carry as far as products and parts. All our stuff is handcrafted and made in the United States, so we really focus on quality over availability of something cool. I mean, we definitely seek out people to make our stuff that's really skilled at what they're doing. So
right. Yeah, I mean,
and
Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just want to make sure too that you guys understand that if you got people out there that are interested in this outside of this promotion, have them get a hold of me. But this is an easy way for them to get a guitar. I mean, really, it's just a really easy way for them to get a guitar.
Well,
Quick review.
Yep, that's great. We like I said, we certainly appreciate that, and hopefully we have some other endeavors hopefully coming up soon between between us and you
Yes.
and multi-state things that are going on. So.
Yeah, we do have some really exciting projects coming up. We've been involved with Eon now for a long time out here at Old 303, and one of the cool things we have coming up, I don't know if you've talked about it yet, but I'll leave that to you guys. It's going to be a really cool project, and I'm super excited for it.
All right, well, we appreciate it, and we'll keep you posted too on where the reviews are going, and hopefully we can get some business your way as well.
Thank you, I appreciate it, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. All right, so that was a very generous offer there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're into guitars, or even if not, if you think that you may just like the show and want to get a free guitar, there you go.
Who doesn't want a free guitar?
I'll take one. I'll take two.
So you go to Old 303, that's OLDE,
That's
303
right. Yep.
Music. Just search them on Facebook.
You got it.
And you can find them.
Outstanding.
Well, we're talking today about the most outrageous conspiracy theories of all time.
Strange.
That we've run across, at least recently.
That's right.
We've talked about a number of different things. We've talked about Scooby-Doo. We've talked about The Moon Isn't Real. We talked about your... what did you talk about?
I talked about George Takai.
George Takai. Mustaches.
We had some movie trivia there.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about something that's actually... We talked about some funny things. This one isn't so funny.
Okay. Well, you're going to bring us down?
I'm going to bring you down.
All right.
I didn't want to do it before the Shakespearean halftime show.
All right.
So I want to do it now. So this is a controversial one because it involves real people. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, real people who have passed away. And in some cases, children, which is not funny at all. Yeah. So we're going to talk about crisis actors. And it's something that has come up. And this is a fairly recent phenomenon, but it's actually a conspiracy theory that surfaces anytime a major event happens. It's usually related to terrorist attacks or something along those lines. And you may have heard of it, maybe you haven't. But essentially, the premise of the theory is that there's always fake events taking place. You have to buy into the conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. There's always fake things taking place, shootings, bombings, terror attacks, whatever. When these fake events take place, the people that we see on the news as victims and bad guys and bystanders and everything else are referred to as crisis actors. So they're not real. They're people who are paid to play a role on TV.
Act out all these different
events.
Acting
out all the things. So in order to believe there are crisis actors, you have to believe that the events that they are acting in are fake. a lot of this started with the Sandy Hook massacre in 2012, where this piece of crap lunatic kid killed 20 little kids and 6 teachers in Newtown, Connecticut. That's not news. Everybody knows about that. But according to some conspiracy theorists, no one was killed that day, but rather that this was a staged incident to bring about gun control measures. According to them, no kids were killed. The school was set to be closed anyway. SWAT teams were staged in the area just prior to the event because they knew it was going to come. And the suspect was a loser loner dude that didn't exist, and so on and so forth. So according to them, everything you saw that happened on the news that day, and the people who lost loved ones and were on TV crying and stuff like that, that's not true. All that is completely fake. So to prove this conspiracy, some people point to pictures, and specifically we're talking about the Sandy Hook case, but you can actually read this into anything. You look at pictures of the aftermath and compare them to other events that have taken place, like the Boston Marathon bombing, the Aurora movie theater shooting in Colorado, and they say that the people you see are the same.
Right.
So you'll find somebody crying in one, and then you look at another incident, and then there's somebody, that exact same person is crying there too. So according to them, that's proof that this is not real. Also, they point out that family members of the victims acting like they were prepared or reading lines when they're being interviewed or acting inappropriately for somebody who has just lost a loved one, which I don't understand how anyone could say that you're acting inappropriately for just losing a loved one if you've not had that happen to you. You don't know how you would react. But the main crux of the theory is that when you look at the video coverage, you'll see the same people at all these events. Now, this one pisses me off because the Newtown killings actually affected me pretty badly. As a father with little kids, I got really upset, even though I didn't have a personal connection to any of the people who lost their lives that day. But, you know, I can see how people who did lose loved ones, imagine that. I want you to put yourself in the position of that person for a minute. Let's say some idiot contacted you, because this happens. These conspiracy theorists about crisis actors will contact family members and say, your kid never existed. Your little kid that was killed was not alive. You're an actor. How would you react to that? You'd probably lose your freaking mind, I would imagine.
Sure.
So this theory actually started around Newtown, but it's been going around the Parkland shooting, the Vegas massacre. These people are saying that these are all government operations, that all the people involved are actors, and that you know, it's all part of a conspiracy. Now, obviously, we know that this isn't true, and and I know you're not a big fan of Alex Jones, the guy that runs the InfoWars website. He's kind of a crazy conspiracy theorist himself. He got in a lot of trouble because he was proposing that Sandy Hook didn't happen. I think he's backed off of that stance at this point, but these people who think that this isn't real, it just drives me insane. But this is a legit conspiracy theory. People think that that's true. Well,
I will say this about what you're talking about. So, you always still have to, you have to take everything with, a discerning eye. Now, that's not to say that these things don't happen, but we all know that there are things out there that are made up and that are fraudulent.
Sure.
So, you have to question everything around you, but to the point where, with some decorum, I will say.
Yeah.
And the other thing, obviously look at the evidence, and the other thing, too, would be there are people that do take advantage of these situations.
Sure, absolutely.
For their own personal gain, though, as well.
And not only that, there's actually real crisis actors. There is a real industry, if you will, of people who are paid to be role players in mass casualty exercises, in terrorism response drills. You can find these casting calls for people all the time, but these are, like the National Guard recently was looking for people to be victims for a mass casualty event on Cape Cod as part of a National Guard drill. So that does happen. These people are employed to do that. But my question to you is this: if the government was using actors to act out these terrible tragedies, these terrorist attacks, stuff like that, wouldn't they use different actors? Why would they use the same freaking actor across each incident?
But not only that,
that would be ridiculous.
Why would they fake it to begin with? In other words,
no, it's exactly right. Why would they do that?
You have the people that say that 9/11 was an inside job, right?
Yes.
So if they had the ability and the lack of moral character to be able to pull off something like 9/11 and kill thousands of people,
yes,
wouldn't they just be able to do it for real? You know what I mean? Like,
why would they hire actors?
Let's go shoot up a movie theater or a school, for real. Why would you fake it when the chances of somebody,
I don't know, unless
being a whistleblower could be high?
Could be higher, right? They just pay some. I mean, honestly, the truth of it is actually probably more related. I think that there's a lot of these mass killings that take place. If there are commonalities between these perpetrators, I don't think they have anything to do with the government. I think it's more related to mental health and lack thereof and medications and stuff like that. But no one seems to be talking about that kind of thing.
Sure.
Anyway.
All right.
Sorry to bring the room down for a minute.
I'm going to bring you all back up.
Okay, sounds good.
I got one more.
All right.
We all remember and we all love, at least I did because it was in my wheelhouse as a youth. We're talking about Saturday morning cartoons and things of that sort, right?
Yep.
When we were watching kids, or at least for me, when I was watching Saturday morning cartoons, whenever it got to the point where the live action shows started coming on,
yeah.
I didn't really want to watch anymore, right?
No.
It was a cartoon day.
Yeah.
But there was one particular live action, or like a sitcom that I loved. That would have been Saved by the Bell.
Oh, Saved by the Bell. Yes. I know why you love that. You love Slater. He was a very attractive
man. Slater,
man.
And I loved Kelly Kapowski.
Mario Lopez.
And they were all very attractive.
Kelly Kapowski. What was that other chick's name? She did striptease.
Oh, that was Jessica.
I don't remember her name. Spano.
Jesse Spano. Yep. And Lisa Turtle.
Oh, she wasn't very good looking. What was her real name? I bet you don't know.
Lark
Voorhees. I remember it because it was the same name as Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
That's right. So there's a theory out there that Saved by the Bell was a vehicle for the Illuminati.
Oh,
we all know
I haven't heard this one.
The famous Illuminati, right?
Yes, they're behind everything.
That's right. They're behind everything. They illuminate.
Taco Bell.
Or actually, they hide behind things in the shadows. So I don't know why they call the Illuminati. But anyway.
Shadow.
It turns out that the teen high school comedy that you just talked about, Saved by the Bell, was riddled with hidden messages endorsing Satanism.
Satanism?
There's a website out there that you can go to, and apparently the show's creators and its stars were behind the hidden messages at the time.
Okay.
Ah, yes.
Why were they doing that?
Well, that's what the Illuminati does. They try to infiltrate the minds of youths.
Okay.
Through popular sitcoms. That's what they do.
So everything is something else.
That's right. So they get their message out there subliminally.
Okay.
So the kids are watching this program, okay, and they're enjoying the program, but all the meanwhile, there are hidden and secret subliminal messages taking place that put forth the Illuminati agenda.
Oh, what kind of things, what kind of subliminal message did you run across specifically what they meant? Or
Well, think about it, right? You have teenagers.
Yep. Hot ones too.
Hot ones wandering around in a
unchecked.
They can do whatever they want. They can congregate in the common areas.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be much classes
without
going
any
on.
Repercussions.
Right.
They could make fun of Mr. Belding without getting in any trouble. So that means that they're basically they're mocking the system.
Oh.
And
anarchy.
That's right. There was anarchy all about in the Saved by the Bell world,
okay,
if you will.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Is that all you had on Saved by the Bell?
Well, I mean, you can look it up. There's websites out there devoted to this sort of thing, and there's all kinds of stuff out there.
There's websites for literally everything.
That's right.
All right, so my last one before we wrap up the show today is actually a pretty interesting one. So you may or may not have heard of the Large Hadron Collider, which, contrary to popular belief, is not a morbidly obese female wrestler. It's a sciencey thing that's located in Switzerland that does sciencey stuff.
That's right.
Attempting and failing to really understand what it does, that's me. I can't really tell you. Basically, from what I was able to ascertain, it propels microscopic particles at great speeds and smashes them into one another. For what? I don't know. Science.
They want to see what happens.
Some sort of sciencey thing.
Try to create a wormhole.
But this thing has been the focus of a lot of conspiracy theories over the years, and some are more plausible than others. Some people think that it might accidentally create a black hole that will swallow everyone.
I've heard of that.
Some people think it was created to usher in an ancient god. We're going to talk about that. So this one gets, believe it or not, gets some credence because of the people who run the stupid Hadron Collider. They erected a statue of the Hindu goddess Shiva, the god of destruction, at their headquarters. Why would you do that?
Well, they like Shiva.
So they're
attractive.
So they created this giant thingy bobber
Yep.
that propels things almost the speed of light, collides particles into one another. We really don't know what's going to happen to it, and they put up a goddess of Hindu destruction
because they're trying to destroy us. That's what they're trying to do.
So why do that?
Well, why not?
So the ancient texts, I don't know which ancient texts, but if you could probably find them on your own.
The Dead Sea Scrolls
refer to a machine. I guess these are Hindu texts. Texts is hard to say. Texts. Anyway, they talk about a machine that could open up stargates or wormholes that would allow the ancient gods to come back to Earth. And so supposedly the Large Hadron Collider is going to open this gate. Shiva can come through and kill everyone. But the Hadron Collider has been operating for, I think, like 10 years, and nothing has happened as of yet, that as far as I know. But it could be a Stargate related. You ever see Stargate, the movie?
I did enjoy Stargate.
Stargate was a pretty good movie. It had James Spader.
And Kurt Russell
again. Kurt Russell, the common thread of today's thing. He was a badass Air Force colonel guy with a beret.
I liked when they went they went through the Stargate and they were like in Egypt. It was like
they went
pseudo
to Egypt.
Yes,
Kind of it was like Egypt except futuristic and
future Egypt.
Yeah, there was some hot chicks that were kind of dirty in there.
Did you know that Saddam Hussein had a Stargate?
I heard that.
That's another
outlandish conspiracy theory. But do you enjoy James Spader?
No.
I think he's a pretty good actor. Why don't you like James Spader?
No, he's terrible.
What?
And what's that show he's in now that's on network TV? It's awful.
Oh, the Blacklist?
Oh, my God.
I liked the first. I think I saw the first season. It was pretty good.
The only movie I ever liked him in was Crash.
Oh, yeah.
Where he played a guy who had a sexual fetish for people that had been in car crashes.
One day we're going to do a sexual fetish show, strange sexual fetishes.
We'll have to preface that.
Yeah, we're not going to let kids listen to that one.
No, definitely not.
But we can definitely
And you can talk about your experiences with different fetishes.
I could, yeah. Of course, when my wife isn't listening. But anyway, so we talked a lot about strange conspiracies today. We hope that we spurred some intellectual curiosity on your parts. You can go look up these things, come up with your own. And if you have a strange conspiracy theory that you want us to talk about, send us a message to TheEoNProject. That's TheEoNProject at yahoo.com. You can also get a hold of us on Facebook and Twitter at TheEoNProject. And let us know, and we'll talk about it on our future episode.
Absolutely, and don't forget about the old 303 giveaway.
Yes,
where
absolutely.
You could win a $500 custom guitar or a $1,000 custom guitar.
Wow.
And now I know a bit about guitars, and you can certainly get a good quality guitar for $500, and even twice as good for $1,000.
Yeah, and we also briefly mentioned earlier we have some exciting news about the Eon Project and a medium shift to another project that we will be doing soon.
That's right.
That we're in the pre-production stages of now, but it's going to be a pretty exciting project, and we hope to get some our websites up and running here relatively soon. But stay tuned to the show. Drop us a note. Let us know you're alive. And we'll take it from there.
That's correct. You have anything else to add?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So until next time, just remember, the truth exists. Believe it.